Signal versus noise. You're unproductive because there's a lot of noise in your day. You're doing activities that don't get you closer to your goal. They take you further away. Examples. So scrolling Instagram, being on Snapchat, watching television, just mindlessly doing anything that isn't productive, that's leading towards either getting you paid or launching your career or furthering your career. Noise. Signal, opposite. You're doing all the habits that you need to do. So what would a proper day look like? Well, when I was in college, here's what my day did look like then. Most days, it was like Groundhog Day, where every day it was just the same thing over and over. So I'd usually wake up about 5 a.m. At 5 a.m., I was at Harvard. I would roll from my dorm room to what was called the MAC, the Malkin Athletic Center. And so from there, that's where I would hit my morning workout. So by 5:30, I was there at the latest. After I brushed my teeth and all that, by 6:30, I was done with my workout. Then in town, there was a Starbucks. I think it was on Brattle Street, though I might be off on that street. Still there today. And so I would go there. I'd usually have a morning tea and a scone. At the same time, I'd read the Wall Street Journal. It used to come in a print edition. There was a newsstand right on what we call the pit at the tea stop. And so I would pick up the morning edition from there. And so that's back when it was under $1. I think it was either 50 or 75 cents. This is back in the 90s. So after I read the Wall Street Journal, usually starting with the money and investing section, and then ending with whatever news stories were there, never whatever the B section was, that was worthless stuff. I would now be pretty close to 8 o'clock. Some days, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I usually had an 8 o'clock class. Tuesday, Thursdays, I did not. So usually from there, it would be going to class, and then in between classes, there was, I preferred the top floor of the Lamont Library. Others preferred others. But at the Lamont Library, that's where I would lock in, I would study, I would get all my stuff done. Back in the 90s, we had physical email terminals. There'd be a line in the lobby where you would actually wait. This is before everybody was connected wirelessly to a laptop. You were hardlined. And so you'd go on the Pine email system and you would check your email. I was always emailing to try and get internships or later sending out resumes to get jobs. And so I would check my email there when I wasn't back in my room at the end of the day to just kind of lock in and do my homework. The point is, there's a lot of signal in that day, very little noise. What about my friends? I would designate time sometimes. There was this bar called Charlie's Kitchen. And so I wouldn't even drink. I would just go to the second floor of Charlie's Kitchen. They had a restaurant there. And that's where we would sometimes meet. We'd compare notes, maybe talk about interview questions that we'd face, mock interview, do all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of what a day would look like. So it was a mix of working out, studying, trying to lock in internships and eventually job interviews. And then, of course, do all your work and get a little bit of friend time scheduled. The point is, every minute of every day was scheduled. You show me your schedule, I'll show you whether or not you're doing what it takes to be successful. Forget banking, that's anything. Same thing goes for those who were pre-med. So they were studying all the time, and it was a lot of signal, very little noise. So can you keep that pace up? Yes, 6 days a week, 1 day a week, pick whatever day that is. You should do absolutely nothing by design so that no matter how bad those other 6 days are, you've got the 1 day that you can look forward to where you know by design you're going to do nothing. That could be sleeping. It's going to be a mostly noise day. So noise could include sleeping, include just doing athletic pursuits like if you like to play basketball or soccer, any of that stuff you don't have time for during your 6 productive days. You can do whatever you want on that 7th day, but 6 days you're productive, 1 day by design you're doing all that other stuff, whether it's chasing hobbies, going to antique stores, going on mindless dates, any of that kind of stuff. So signal, signal, signal. If you're not doing that, you are going to get absolutely crushed. You have no chance because, believe me, everybody who is going to get the job that you want is doing what you won't. So be the person who does what others won't so that you can have what they can't. Thought of the day.